What's up, mother truckers? We are the Thralls of Metal. I am Shredlord here.
Necrotic Nick.
And we are bringing you yet another album review. Now, this time is one we are both very excited about. It is the brand new release of Mayhem's Daemon. Released the first one on Century Media after leaving Seasons of Mist.
Yep. These guys formed in Norway, technically Oslo, but also in other towns, I guess. This is their sixth full length since 1984, so a little bit of space in between there. Returns the same lineup from Esoteric Warfare, and do we need to go over the suicide, church burnings, and murder? Or is pretty much everyone up to speed on that?
A quick recap. A long time ago, in a galaxy not that far away, some guys formed a band. One guy shot himself in the face. The other guy got murdered. And here we are.
Church burnings, those two.
Throw a few church burnings in between, yeah. But basically, here we are.
Yeah. So years from then, we come to now, and finally a new release, the first one in 5 years, and needless to say, I think it was probably one of the most anticipated releases as far as black metal goes this year.
Also, I will say, it is the only Mayhem album, to my knowledge, where the previous album and the current album have the exact same lineup. Every other album in between has various lineup changes. This is the first one where it was steady.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, the first thing I noticed when I turned on the tracks are there's no bullshit, no frills. Immediately, as soon as you turn on track one, it's right into blast beats, right in there. No fucking
pretense.
Piano, no pretense, no nothing.
Nothing. Didn't need it. I mean, these guys create that fucking ultra evil atmosphere without any build-up at all. Like, you know what the hell you're getting into as soon as you listen to this. And holy shit, it sounded amazing right away.
I felt Satan just giving my balls a little how's your father? Right from the get-go, man. It was pretty sweet.
I love how Mayhem can be riffy and very atmospheric at the same time, and that is pretty much this whole album. These first three tracks start off at a frantic pace, and I was expecting something a little bit more slowed down, maybe in some of these spots. No, they went right fucking for it. Blast beats right away. Hellhammer sounds incredible on this.
Everybody sounded really good. The production has changed a little bit in past albums, especially even from as simple as the last album, Esoteric Warfare.
Yeah. Wasn't a huge fan of that one, but This one, they actually kind of captured their old sound, but with modern production, I would say. It's not as gritty, but there's still some discernible grit. It's just well produced. Things are separated easier.
And one cool thing that I think they did on this album, too, is they kind of embraced some of the newer black metal vibes. I could definitely hear some Behemoth.
A little bit of Behemoth, but I'd say I still heard pretty much their classic influences, Celtic Frost and Bathory. In fact, tons of Bathory. But yeah, it's modern, but still old school. I think it will appeal to fans that pretty much got into their early stuff and then nothing else, or fans that got into their later stuff, which I really don't meet a lot of them, but I'm sure they're out there. Agenda Iris, probably one of my favorite tracks on here. Oh my god. This, honestly, I thought the first song was a really good opener. It's a small sample size. It comes in and kicks the shit out of you.
But the next song was even better.
Next song was even better. I thought there was groovier riffs. I thought the dissonant riffs on this, the dissonant riffs all over this just build this creepy atmosphere. And Attila is a madman on vocals on this album.
Is this the best album he's ever done with Mayhem?
Quite possibly.
I think so. He really dug deep into the bag of tricks and presented a lot of different vocal styles and a lot of different vocal accents. Depending on the part, he would change his approach, change his attack, and you could definitely tell he didn't just dial it in. It was very well thought out, very well planned, and very meticulous, which I appreciated.
He's a classically trained vocalist, so you hear him use a lot of interesting techniques. He does some almost throat singing in parts. There's also bits where he sounds operatic. He actually has this really good, clean delivery. It's very baritone. There's other parts you can hear him kind of growling from his diaphragm. There's the word. But yeah, he is all over the place. They layer his vocals really well in here, so even in these more quiet moments where you actually get to hear Necro Butcher play bass, and it's really clear. You can hear him, and he's playing an awesome
Everything
stuff.
drops out. That brings me to my next point. I love the dynamics of this album. It wasn't just all one pace. There were times where it was extreme chaos, and there were times where it was riffy groove madness, and that contrast really kept the album interesting for me.
I like some of the more theatrical elements they like to bring in, or even, I guess, symphonic. They brought in timpani drums on Invoke the Oath, which added an awesome effect. They just hit right when the riffs had like a good punctuated moment. Dude, it just added to the overall feel of this. Like, I felt like I should have been watching The Omen while listening to this, and it would have worked. It would have 100% worked.
To me, the X factor for this album was Ghoul. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, Ghoul is the guitar player. He came from Cradle of Filth way back in the day. And one of the things that you'll notice on this album that you don't really ever hear on too many Mayhem albums is guitar solos.
Yeah.
Now, once again, they weren't all over the place, but they were short, sweet, and super fucking tasteful. That guy is an excellent player, and to be honest, in future Mayhem albums, I'd like to hear more of what he's capable of doing, as long as it doesn't take away from the rest of the track. But he is a very talented musician, and to me it would be a disservice for Mayhem to try to bottle up his talent. They should let him breathe a little bit more on the next album, and I'd really be interested to hear.
I think what he did served the songs. That was the main
I'd like
idea
to see
here.
him even open. I'd like to see him let him off a little more leash. Let him off a little more leash.
Yeah, a little bit more. I like the fact that he brought in some thrashier stuff too. He and Telog. There were some nice little palm muted chugs, which not necessarily like anything else that's on the album. A lot of it is more almost ambient and haunting and ominous. But they know how to bring in a nice little thrashy moment, a good chug-a-thon. You need a good groovy punch every now and then, and they definitely brought those moments in here too.
So I think, in conclusion, from front to back, this album was everything I kind of expected it to be, and then some. Nick and I were talking earlier, we didn't have the highest standard. I think we knew we would enjoy it, but I don't think we realized we would enjoy it this much. I think this album deserves some end-of-the-year consideration.
Definitely. All right. I didn't like Esoteric Warfare. I thought it was a really dull album. And I think Order to KO is good, but I think it got hyped up just because I think it was a Mayhem album. Honestly, this is the best work they've done since Steve Mysterious.
Yeah.
Hands down. This is a really fantastic piece. And honestly, I didn't have that high expectations, to be honest, just because of the last album being dull. I figured maybe they were just cashing in on the fact that Lords of Chaos blew up and became this cult phenomena, and their notoriety once again got out there. But these guys went in the studio with a mission, and that was
mission accomplished.
Write an incredible album, and they did that.
Very well crafted.
Front to back. Even the bonus tracks I thought were really good, which, if you get that version, there are 2 bonus tracks that are exceptionally good as well.
I got it because I pre-ordered it on Apple Music.
Physical media. You got to get that, too.
I got it because I pre-ordered it on Apple Music.
You're scum.
All right, let's get down to the nitty of the gritty. Ratings. I will go first. I would give this album a solid 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved this album from the moment I started listening to it. It kept me interested the whole way through, and I can't really think of anything bad that I have to say about that. It kicks ass, and it'll most likely, pretty damn sure, end up in my favorite albums of the year at the end of the year. So 4.5 from me all day.
I gotta go with 4.5 as well. I can't quite give this a 5. There were some moments where I think they just kind of went a little too off the rails in terms of just being creepy and weird. But it was still fun. I enjoyed pretty much every second of this. And he texted me while he was listening. He was like, "Dude, this album's incredible." I was like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And then I started listening. And I was like, "Fuck!"
And he hit me back like, "Holy shit, he's not lying."
So yeah, this is definitely year-end material for me. And like I said, I think this is the best album they've done since their most famous album, and that is saying something because that is a benchmark album. So yeah,
here's to a few more fucking kick-ass Mayhem albums in the future.
Done. I'm sold.
All right. So if you like what you saw here, please hit the like and subscribe button because we do this shit
all the time. Catch you guys later.
Later.